So I'm sure you've all seen your normie friends and all of these celebrities posting the stop Asian hate memes and gifs and all of this stuff, and it's all because of this beautiful looking man right here who just shot and killed 8 people, 6 of whom were Asians. And I mean, even if whatever the case may be, even if they find out that he actually didn't shoot anybody, he should just be arrested for this disgusting beard on his face. I don't know how anybody let him out in public. You should have known that he was going to kill some people because he is just repulsive. But anyway, he went to a bunch of massage parlors where he used to get rub and tugs. He was a sex addict, apparently, and he gave the officers the reasoning why he killed all these people was because he felt that these massage parlors were facilitating his addiction. So he's like just a complete coomer. So he decided that he didn't want to let those people live anymore because he didn't want to keep indulging in his sexual hedonism, I suppose. And of course, they're framing this as an anti Asian hate crime. And the reason that they're doing this is because black people have been killing Asians or assaulting violently Asians at an excessive rate ever since the coronavirus happened last year. So there has been this anti-Asian sentiment among the black community in like forms of tangible violent acts. So what are they going to do? They're going to try and blame it on white people. They're making this out to be a completely anti-Asian attack, even though 2 of the victims were white, and he has said repeatedly that it had nothing to do with race. It was all because he felt that these people were responsible for facilitating and, I guess, enabling his sex addiction. So we're going to look at some stats. Most of these stats are going to be from Vincent James of the Red Elephants. Okay, so this is not from the Red Elephants. This one is from Finance Geek or something, but they use reliable sources. And this is basically listing all of the victims and perpetrators of interracial crimes. And it basically states that in 2018, there were 182,230 reports of Asian victims. Of these, the offender was white 24% of the time and black 28% of the time. So while the U.S. population has more white people than black people, Asians were victimized in violent crime by black people more often than by white people, even without adjusting for population difference. So when you have 13% of the population that is black, and you have 60% of the population that is white, but then you have more crimes being committed by black people of a certain caliber, I guess you could say. When there's more anti-Asian crimes committed by black people, you have to adjust it for population. And Vincent James went over this, and he basically determined that if you do the mathematical equation to get the crimes per capita, that black people are attacking Asians at a rate like 3 times that of what white people are doing. So 28% of crimes against Asians, interracial violent crimes against Asians, is committed by black people. 0.1% of interracial crimes against black people are committed by Asians. That means that black on Asian violent crime is 280 times higher than Asian on black crime. All right, and these are a list of the last 34 anti-Asian interracial attacks that have been, I guess, reported in the news since the coronavirus started last year. Of all of these attacks, only 2 were white, 22, I think, were black, and the rest were either Hispanic, mixed, or unknown. And then here are the statistics from Vincent James's site, the Red Elephants. Interracial crime rate from 2012 to 2015. Black on white was 540,000. White on black, 92,000. That's a crazy disparity when you also consider the population differences. That black people are only 13% of the population and white people are over 60% of the population. And also, this is the hate crime stats. Hate crimes are obviously dumb and shouldn't exist, but if you break it down per capita by 100,000 people, 1.07% 1.07 out of 100,000 hate crimes are committed by whites, and 3.55 hate crimes out of 100,000 are committed by blacks. So what does this mean? Obviously it means that they are lying to us. They are trying to purposely stir up anti-white hatred by purposely misrepresenting facts. it wouldn't even matter if this guy really did set out to kill Asians or if he was just killing people because he's a psychopath and wanted to kill people that he felt were responsible for his degenerate sex addiction. They would still use it for the agenda that they're trying to push. What I mean is, originally I thought that this guy was just a patsy because black people have been killing Asians at an extraordinary rate ever since coronavirus started. So now they needed to get some white guy to kill a bunch of Asians so that they could blame white supremacy and evil white racism against Asians in an attempt to unify Asians and blacks against white people. And now this may work to a certain degree for maybe like Asians that have been here for multiple generations who are completely Americanized and have become complete libshits. But most Asians are way more racist towards blacks. And I'm using racist obviously in the colloquial sense. Racism is a meaningless term. But most Asians are way more racist towards blacks than whites are. In China, they don't even allow black people to be on movie posters. Certain stores don't let black people in. Asians are known for covering their nose whenever they're around black people. And obviously, as you can see from the statistics I just showed, black people are responsible for far more hate crimes against Asians than white people are. And now you see these astroturfed GIFs and hashtags floating around with Stop Asian Hate. LeBron James is posting it now, and all of these black celebrities are coming out in support for unification with Asians because white people are hating on Asians. There was a march in New York City a couple of weeks back to stop white supremacism because of all the anti-Asian attacks, even though they were majority committed by black people. It's just the epitome of clown world, hell world, 1984, a brave new world, all of that cliche nonsense just coming together. This is the culmination of everything. They can literally take any interracial crime, even if it was like an Asian person and an Indian person, and somehow blame it on white supremacy. It's all white people's fault. And that's their goal. Their goal is to basically dehumanize and blame everything on white people because they hate white people. That's what it is. And nobody wants to talk about that because if you talk about that, then you're labeled a white supremacist and you hate minorities and all this stuff. And then you see all these white people trying to like stick up for Asians and blacks and stuff like that. And white people will literally stick up for every other race except their own. Now, this guy is a mentally ill scumbag, and he shouldn't have killed anybody, obviously. But it's clear as day, just like with everything else that we're lied about, like the George Floyd case or Breonna Taylor, all these people, it had nothing to do with race. And if it did have something to do with race, that doesn't change the statistics. Also, this guy shot up a brothel, essentially. Two brothels, right? That's what they were doing. They were basically facilitating the solicitation of prostitution. Obviously, I'm not condoning violence or murder or anything like that, but when you look at it that way, that's kind of the equivalent of if like he shot up a trap house where they're selling drugs out of, right? They're facilitating illegal activities, but they're not acting like this in the news. They're trying to make it completely racial. I think the title of this news article is "Sex Addict or Racist." Right? Like, it's ridiculous. Two of the victims were white. What was that? Were those just accidental? And as I showed you, the statistics show that black people commit way more interracial crimes than white people, despite the disparity in the population of black people compared to white people. Yet you never hear anything on the news about racial attacks from black people. Only when the perpetrator is white do you hear it. And that actually goes along with Ann Coulter's law. Even though Coulter has become super cringe lately, her law is that the longer it takes for them to identify the perpetrator of a crime, the less chance it has of being a white perpetrator. Because when it's a white perpetrator, they have all the information ready. They know their whole entire backstory, their whole entire family's name, what school they went to, what video games they like. They know every little bit of information you could ever think of. When it's a Hispanic or a black perpetrator or anything else, then it's just like memory hold the next day. And then when interracial crimes happen against white people, like you see with like Cannon Hinnant or the Black Lives Matter mom who killed her adopted white daughter a couple of weeks back, anytime it's an interracial crime against white people, you always hear everybody going, well, we don't know if race had anything to do with it. Oh, this has nothing to do with race. This person was just a psychopath. But anytime it's a white perpetrator, race is the only thing that is mentioned. And it is obvious to people like us. We could see the hypocrisy as blatant as day, but normal people seem to like just not see it. And normal white people are so afraid of sticking up for themselves because they are terrified of being labeled racist. They allow this arbitrary, meaningless pejorative to have so much power over them. It is disgusting. It's because it is all part of the war on white people. They hate white people. And why is that? Well, there's multiple reasons. For one, they see us as a threat. They see that anytime white people collectivize for their group interests, they become a threat and they're the next Nazis and all of this stuff. But in on a deeper sense, not even just bringing up the Nazi stuff, it's just that they see, the elites see that if white people collectivize and think that they have group interests, that they could actually cause a problem because they are the majority in the most powerful country in the world. That's why they're trying to destroy our majority. The second reason has to do with our foundation myth, which, as I've talked about multiple times, before World War II, our foundation myth was that we were a country of pioneers and settlers who created the most prosperous nation on earth out of a land that was inhabited by savages who never had any type of civilization. And then after World War II, our foundation myth came that we were these evil, racist, imperialists, blah, blah, blah. And now we're taught in schools how evil white people are and that we owe everybody everything because we owe everybody reparations. Everybody should come here and just be Americans. Anybody who's not American is just an American who isn't in America yet, all that stuff. And also, which nobody seems to talk about, white people, Europeans, are explicitly connected with Christianity. We are the ones who spread Christianity. Christianity became dominant in the Roman Empire and Europe, and therefore that makes enemies of Christ generally hate white people because they connect us with Christianity. So yeah, I thought I'd just make a little video on my feelings regarding the Stop Asian Hate thing. It is all completely astroturf nonsense. There is no pandemic of white on Asian hate crimes or anything like that. The only pandemic really is against white people. And I think the hashtag should be Stop Anti-White Hate. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to try to make the next episode of Pray and Prepare a live show, but I just haven't had time to really do that. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on my Twitter and my Telegram. I'll let you guys know when I'm going live with that. So yeah, see you later.